Hello there, and thank you for joining me at my bench once again. In today's tutorial I'm going to tie you up a beetle pattern. It won't be long, and it'll be terrestrial season, time to try beetles and hoppers and whatnot. And this beetle pattern, I've tied one before in my tutorials, but this one's a little different. The body and legs are formed by using a loop, and the legs are black deer hair and the body is peacock herl. Just a little different way of tying them, and the deer hair adds a little extra floatability for sure for the legs. So I'll show you how I go about tying this guy. I'll get him my device, fresh hook in, and get started here. I'm using a standard dry fly hook, a 94840 and a size 14. So I'll get that locked down here first of all. Okay, there we go. Now I'm using denville 6/0 black for thread, so the first thing I'll do is just start a thread base here, work back towards the bend, and we'll come back to just in front of the barbs where I want to stop that, and we'll snip that out. Now I have a strip of foam cut here, and I cut it a little bit wider than the gap of the hook and cut it to a point so it's easier to tie in here. So we'll tie that in right on top, just like so. And if you face the foam towards yourself, and then as you wrap over it, it'll usually, that process will bring it right on top of the shank for you, like so. And we'll wrap all that excess down good. But you want to make sure you leave a little space here behind the eye. Now I'm going to wrap back on that foam to where I want the body to end, or the shell back, or the okay, that's about right. Maybe a couple more wraps. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is take 3 strands of peacock herl here, and I'm just going to cut off those tips, the fragile tips there, and we're going to tie those in here and wrap them back to right in front of our foam strip there, and we'll leave those for now. Come ahead now, I'm going to form a loop, probably about 4 inches long, 3 or 4 inch long loop here. Wrap that back to in front of the herl, right next to the herl, and we'll move our thread forward to where we want to tie this all off. Now this is where the different part of it comes in. I'm going to take my dubbing spinner and hook that on the loop, and I'm going to snip a little bit of black deer hair. I have some black deer hair here, and I'm going to snip a little bit off the hide. Not a lot, just a small amount. It's going to form our legs, and I'm going to cut that fairly short here. And what I'll do is I'm going to take that and attempt to get this in the loop without it can fall out on you very easily, but I'm going to try it not to let it fall out. And we'll spread that up. We don't need a whole lot, just enough to form a few legs. And I'm going to spin this up just a bit, and then I'm going to take the herl and lay it right next to the deer hair, and then I'm going to remove the dubbing spinner, and then I'm going to grasp that with my hackle pliers. Now we're just going to spin that up, deer hair and the herl together, just like so here. Alright, now we're going to begin to wrap this, and don't worry about if it looks like a mess at first, because we're going to do a lot of trimming here in a bit. Just keep wrapping the herl and the deer hair forward, just like so. And just in case I get any hairs trapped here, I'm going to pick those out. Okay, and just wrap forward till I get to where I want to tie off right there. Now we'll come up underneath, tie this off like so, and we'll trim the excess. Okay, now I want to take all that deer hair and pull it down underneath the hook the best you can here, everything down, just like so. And I'm going to fold that foam over top, and we'll come up around a couple tight wraps there. And make 4 or 5 more snug wraps, just like so. Alright, now all our deer hair is underneath there, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim all that hair about, move our thread back out of the way so we don't trim our thread. I want it to come to about the bottom of the hook gap there. A little bit shorter than that, so I'm going to trim that some more here. Okay, that's fine. Got a few stray guys there. Trim those out. Then I'm going to turn the fly upside down. And what I'm going to do next is take my scissors and sort of divide that hair so there's some coming on each side of the fly for legs. Then I'm just going to go right down the center and trim the excess out that I don't want. Okay. Just like so. That gives us some legs on each side there. Just trim them up a little straighter. And there we have it. There's our legs on each side, deer hair legs, and you can still see the underneath there. You can still see the peacock herl coming through. Okay, that looks good. Now, next step, I'm going to trim that just about 1/8 of an inch here. And I'm going to round the edges off a little on the head of this guy. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to put an indicator on them, as they are hard to see, so on the water. So I'll cut around with a little piece of orange foam here. Make 3 or 4 or 5 snug wraps. Make sure it's right on top in the center. Pull down. Then I'm going to move the thread forward here to right behind the eye. Got a little stray piece of hair there I want to snip out. There we go. Alrighty. Now, okay, I'm going to take my whip finisher. First I'll snip this off flush here, the indicator. Just like so. And that gives us a little indicator right on top. Now I'll just bring in my whip finisher. And lift up on that head and come in there underneath and get probably 4 or 5 turns on a whip finish here. Okay. Snug that down. Snip off that excess thread there. Okay, I'm just going to do a little more trimming on the legs here, just a bit. Just bear with me here. Just going to thin that one side out just a bit. That's better. Okay, I want to try to get about the same amount of legs on each side. Doesn't really matter, but there we go. There you can see the underneath view, the side view. It's just a different way of tying a beetle, and the deer hair adds a little more flotation to it. Keeps it riding on the surface good. Okay, and that's all there is to it, except for one last step. The thread wraps on the bottom there where I made the whip finish. I'm going to put a little touch of bone dry UV resin, just a tiny touch of it, not much. Just like so. And we'll cure that little bit of resin up there. Put on the bottom. There we have it. There's another size 14 deer hair leg foam beetle. Easy to tie, but they catch fish for sure. So, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial this time around, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you'd like to see more videos, hit the good old subscribe button. I thank you a lot for that, and throw in a like too if you wish. And like I always say, if you have the materials, tie this little guy up, and for sure add a few to your box for this summer. And until next time, everyone, I'll bring a close-up in here if I can get my camera focused up here. I don't know why it's not focusing here, but there we go. Alrighty. Anyhow, I want to thank you for watching. Happy tying out there. I'll see you all again soon. And so long for now, folks.